Lil Durk, a name synonymous with the streets and hip-hop success, now finds himself in a grim spotlight. His arrest for an alleged murder-for-hire plot has rocked the music world and left him facing the harsh realities of prison life. According to a veteran gang leader, even Durk, known for his street ties and resilience, is grappling with fear behind bars. This story delves into why prison poses a new kind of threat for the Chicago rapper, testing his limits like never before. Lil Durk might be in danger. 50 Cent has always been the type to read the room before anyone else catches on. With decades of street knowledge and navigating both the music industry and gang life, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson understands the art of survival better than most. In a recent interview, the G-Unit founder didn't hold back when talking about why Chicago rapper Lil Durk might be feeling the weight of betrayal and fear in prison. According to 50, the threats Durk faces aren't just from the feds, it's from those closest to him, the very people he built his empire with. And if there's one thing 50 knows, it's this: loyalty can be a myth when money and freedom are on the line. Months before Lil Durk found himself in federal custody, 50 Cent saw trouble brewing. The G-Unit founder, no stranger to entourages and the fallout of misplaced trust, shared a crucial moment with Durk during their collaboration on the Power theme song. In an interview with The Breakfast Club, 50 recalled giving Durk some advice. "With Durk, I was telling him this is them, they the real deal. He was like, yeah. And I said, yo, just watch them, your crew." At the time, Durk shrugged off the warning, but 50's instincts were rooted in years of experience. He knew the dangers of building an empire surrounded by people who might not share the same loyalty.
When you said that to Durk, what was his response to you?
He said, "You know what? He said, somebody just came in my house. How do they know exactly what the address is? I don't give my address to nobody."
That's the red flag right there, 50 explained. This wasn't just theoretical advice. Back in 2021, Durk and his girlfriend India Royale survived a home invasion in Georgia. The two exchanged gunfire with intruders, a harrowing experience that left questions about how his location was leaked. Now, sitting in a Broward County jail cell, Durk might be realizing 50 was right all along. The indictment against Lil Durk paints a damning picture. He allegedly placed a bounty on Quando Rondo, organizing a hit as retaliation for the murder of King Von, his close friend and collaborator. Prosecutors claim to have hard evidence, including financial records showing flight tickets purchased for the hitmen with OTF-linked credit cards. But the most shocking part isn't the crime, it's the betrayal. Among the 5 OTF affiliates arrested alongside Durk, one is rumored to have flipped, providing the feds with the information they needed to take down their leader. Durk, who built OTF from the ground up, now finds himself in a classic street dilemma. The very people he empowered might be the ones who seal his fate. Being locked up is a different kind of pressure for someone like Lil Durk. Unlike regular inmates, his name carries weight, both in respect and in danger. Durk has publicly insisted he's not in protective custody, choosing to remain on the main line with the general population. But that decision comes with risks, especially in a facility like Broward County Jail, which has been criticized for abuse and neglect. Since 2021, 21 inmates have died in custody, prompting calls from the NAACP and public defenders for federal oversight. Durk's high-profile status makes him a target, not just for guards or other inmates, but potentially for retaliation from those connected to his alleged plot against Quando Rondo. And then there's the matter of the snitch. If someone from OTF has indeed turned against him, Durk has more to worry about than his court case. Snitching is one of the cardinal sins in both the streets and prison culture. If word gets out about betrayal within his circle, it could lead to violent repercussions, whether inside or outside the jail walls. Durk's hit song Federal Nightmares has taken on a haunting new relevance since his arrest. In the track, he raps about betrayal and the inevitability of federal scrutiny. "Delete my iCloud if I think they really on me though. When trial come, it ain't your phone, it be your homie though." Fans have pointed to the song as a grim prophecy, with some suggesting Durk knew betrayal was a possibility long before the feds closed in. But while the lyrics might seem clairvoyant, they're also a reflection of a harsh reality. In the world Durk comes from, snitches are an ever-present threat. Still, knowing betrayal is possible doesn't make it easier to handle when it happens. While Durk fights his battles behind bars, the streets are watching and talking. Quando Rondo, the alleged target of the murder-for-hire plot, has added fuel to the fire with his latest song, seemingly addressing the situation without naming names. The timing of the release has only escalated tensions, with fans dissecting every lyric for hidden jabs. However, rather than anger, Rondo's response surprised fans with a message of forgiveness and positivity. Promoting his new single Life Goes On, the Georgia rapper took to Instagram, urging fellow artists to leave behind street feuds and focus on family and community. Meanwhile, on social media, speculation about the identity of the snitch continues to grow. grow. Some fans are calling for loyalty, while others are ready to point fingers at anyone in Durk's circle who looks even slightly suspicious. But for Durk, the stakes go far beyond fan theories. If the snitch's identity becomes public, it could lead to a chain reaction of violence, a grim reminder of how quickly things can spiral in the streets. For 50 Cent, Lil Durk's situation is both a cautionary tale and a validation of his own approach to survival. Reflecting on his time leading G-Unit, 50 said,
I've always had that energy myself in the middle of everything that was going on. I'm not just watching.
We know, Fifth.
The other side, I'm always watching. I'm like, wait a minute. Where was you at Thursday at 3? If you got pulled over and you're not in jail, why?
He believes Durk's downfall isn't just about bad decisions, it's about trust. As Durk waits for his next court date, 50's words hang in the air like an unspoken truth. Whether it's the legal system, the streets, or his own crew, Durk's fight for freedom is only beginning. In the end, Durk's greatest challenge might not be the federal charges against him. It's the knowledge that someone he trusted, someone who claimed to be only the family, betrayed him when it mattered most. The inside threat facing Lil Durk. Lil Durk's life is unraveling not just in the courtroom but also in the streets that made him a star. The rapper's recent indictment isn't just another chapter in his story, it's a full-blown saga of betrayal, loyalty, and survival, with one name echoing louder than the rest: OTF Jam. Jam, once a trusted member of Durk's inner circle, has now become the centerpiece of a federal investigation that could destroy everything OTF stands for. While the rap community grapples with this shocking twist, it's clear that the real threat to Durk's freedom isn't the charges, it's the betrayal within. OTF Jam wasn't just any crew member, he was family, a man who had served 12 years behind bars for attempted murder and returned to the streets in 2022 with a reputation for loyalty. To many, Jam embodied the principles that OTF was built on: loyalty, strength, and brotherhood. But appearances can be deceiving. Despite his outward loyalty, Jam reportedly began cooperating with authorities shortly after his release. His motivations remain murky, but rumors suggest a mix of self-preservation and resentment. According to insider sources, Jam felt slighted by Durk's growing success and perceived lack of attention to his struggles. "When you're in the trenches with someone, you expect them to hold you down no matter what," said a former OTF affiliate. Jam felt like Durk forgot where he came from. Durk didn't forget. During Jam's incarceration, Durk reportedly provided financial support and public recognition, ensuring his name stayed relevant in the streets. But for Jam, this wasn't enough. Jam's decision to flip wasn't spontaneous, it was calculated. According to federal documents, he began wearing a wire shortly after his release, recording conversations with OTF members and feeding investigators key details about their operations. The betrayal runs deep. Jam didn't just hand over evidence, he built a case. Federal agents allege that Jam provided them with a timeline of events, detailing how Durk and his crew allegedly planned and executed a murder-for-hire scheme targeting Quando Rondo. The plan, prosecutors claim, was retaliation for the death of King Von, a beloved OTF member and rising star in the drill scene. The indictment paints a chilling picture of how Jam operated. Infiltration. By maintaining his position within OTF, Jam gained access to sensitive conversations and operations. Documentation. Using a hidden wire, he recorded conversations that reportedly included coded language about hits, logistics, and finances. Coordination with authorities. Jam's cooperation allowed federal agents to build a detailed case against Durk and other OTF members, leading to their arrests. This wasn't just a betrayal, it was a masterclass in deception. For Durk, the realization that Jam had flipped must have been devastating. Sources close to the rapper suggest he suspected betrayal long before his arrest. His attempts to flee, reportedly just days before the police came knocking, hint at a man who knew the walls were closing in. Durk's actions in those final days before his arrest reveal a man grappling with the weight of betrayal. While fans debate whether his escape attempt was an admission of guilt or a desperate act of self-preservation, one thing is clear: Durk was caught off guard by the depth of Jam's betrayal. In the world of hip-hop and the streets, loyalty is everything. Betrayal isn't just frowned upon, it's unforgivable. Jam's actions have sparked a firestorm of debate, with fans, rivals, and industry insiders weighing in on what his betrayal means for OTF and Lil Durk's legacy. Social media has been ablaze with reactions. One viral video features DJ Academics and Trenches News discussing the allegations against Jam. When Academics pressed Trenches about the likelihood of Jam wearing a wire, Trenches didn't hold back. "It's not a question of if, it's fact. Jam was in the mix and he was listening. Everyone in OTF knows it now." Whack 100, never one to shy away from controversy, added his perspective during a recent podcast. Jam played the long game. He did his time crime came out and flipped. He got close, real close, and now Durk is paying the price. OTF has always prided itself on being more than just a rap crew. It's a family, but the betrayal by Jam has exposed cracks in the foundation. Prosecutors describe OTF as a hybrid organization, part music label, part street gang. This dual identity has always been both a strength and a weakness. While the label's street credibility helped propel its artists to fame, it also made them targets for law enforcement. Jam's betrayal has only amplified these challenges. His cooperation has not only led to legal troubles for Durk, but also raised questions about the loyalty of other OTF members. If Jam could flip, who's next? The indictment against Durk and OTF is a masterclass in federal prosecution, built on years of intelligence gathering. Jam's cooperation was pivotal, providing agents with the insider knowledge they needed to construct a case. Key elements of the indictment include: the indictment accuses Banks of leading a murder-for-hire scheme targeting a rival rapper identified as TB, believed to be Quando Rondo, resulting in the death of his family member, SR. The crime occurred on August 19, 2022, at a Los Angeles gas station. Prosecutors argue this act was retaliation for the 2020 killing of OTF member King Von, who was a close friend of Banks. The charges include conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death, use and discharge of firearms and machine guns in furtherance of a violent crime resulting in death. The indictment's most damning claim is that Durk used coded language to issue a bounty on Quando Rondo. This detail, reportedly allegedly provided by Jam, has become a cornerstone of the case. Prosecutors also describe OTF not just as a music collective, but as a hybrid organization engaged in violent criminal activities. As its leader, Banks allegedly financed and directed actions to maintain control and reputation within the collective. The indictment accuses Banks of issuing a bounty on Quando Rondo and using OTF resources, including credit cards and personnel, to execute the murder plot. Evidence presented in the indictment reveals that Banks allegedly coordinated with co-conspirators to fund the murder-for-hire plot. Flight purchases. On August 18, 2022, OTF associates used credit cards tied to Banks and his businesses to book one-way flights for the hitmen from Chicago to California. Coded text messages. iCloud records show Banks advising a co-conspirator, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with Sick Me," as an attempt to conceal connections to the operation. Hotel payments. Banks' credit card was also used to pay for accommodations for the hitmen near the murder location. Surveillance footage and evidence provide a detailed account of the crime. The stalking, 2 vehicles, a white BMW and a white Infiniti, followed TB and SR's Cadillac Escalade through Los Angeles for hours before the murder. 3 masked gunmen exited the Infiniti, opened fire at the Escalade, and fled the scene. At least 18 shell casings were recovered. The aftermath. Hours later, suspects gathered at an In-N-Out restaurant in Los Angeles, further captured on video. The indictment identifies several co-conspirators charged alongside Banks, including Calvin London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Bryan Lindsay, and Asa Houston. Banks is accused of working closely with Grant, who rented the murder vehicle and purchased ski masks for the shooters. The hitmen allegedly left California within hours of the crime, flying back to Chicago using tickets purchased with OTF-linked funds. Meanwhile, witnesses involved in the case remain unnamed due to safety concerns. Investigators have noted threats to witnesses and their families, heightening the seriousness of the case. As Durk sits behind bars, he's facing the biggest challenge of his career. The legal system is relentless, and the betrayal by Jam has made his defense even harder. For now, Durk's focus is on fighting the charges against him. But even if he manages to beat the case, the damage to his reputation and crew may be irreversible. The betrayal by Jam has become a cautionary tale for the hip-hop community. In a world where loyalty is supposed to be unbreakable, Jam's actions have shown that survival often comes at a price. For Durk, the battle isn't just about clearing his name, it's about reclaiming his legacy. The streets are watching, and how he handles this moment will define him for years to come. What the future holds for Lil Durk. Lil Durk has always been a survivor, but at 32 years old, the OTF, only the family boss, is now facing a superseding federal indictment that's shaking up his world, and the rap game along with it. Durk's name wasn't initially on the federal indictment targeting a group of suspects allegedly involved in a murder-for-hire scheme. That changed when federal prosecutors dropped a superseding indictment, adding Durk as the lead defendant. That move signals one thing: the feds believe they have the evidence to connect him directly to the crime. The charges are no light work. The superseding indictment accuses Durk of conspiracy, using interstate facilities to commit murder for hire, and carrying and discharging firearms, including machine guns, in furtherance of a violent crime. This case ties Durk to the fatal shooting of Georgia rapper Quando Rondo's cousin, a killing that happened at an LA gas station 2 years ago. What makes this superseding indictment more dangerous is how it links Durk not just as a bystander or affiliate, but as the alleged mastermind behind the plot. Prosecutors are painting a picture of Durk as the leader of a criminal enterprise, someone who called the shots and financed the operation. For the feds, this isn't just about one shooting. It's about dismantling what they're labeling a gang masquerading as a music label. This superseding indictment adds more weight to an already serious case. It ties Durk directly to the other defendants, including Kevon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Bryan Lindsay, and Asa Houston. These men were already in hot water for their alleged roles in the murder-for-hire plot, but with Durk's name added, the narrative has shifted. Prosecutors claim Durk orchestrated the plot using coded language, booked flights for co-conspirators, and provided financial backing. The indictment alleges he advised his crew to avoid leaving a paper trail, instructing them to use aliases when booking travel. If convicted on all counts, Durk could face life in federal prison. This is more than just a career-ending scenario. It's the kind of case that ends with a rapper becoming another cautionary tale about the thin line between street life and superstardom. Also, TikTok's been going crazy since Durk's arrest. Word on the app is that he might face the electric chair. Posts are flying, memes, shocked reactions, and even wild comments like, "Who we gonna listen to now?" But let's get one thing straight. California isn't frying anybody. The state's been off the death penalty game since 2006, with Governor Gavin Newsom putting a moratorium on it in 2019. So while the charges are heavy, Durk's not facing electrocution. Meanwhile, in a matter of days after his arrest, Lil Durk's public image took a hit harder than a diss track. The village of Broadview, which had just honored him with a key for his work in the community through the Neighborhood Heroes Foundation, snatched it back just as quickly. Mayor Katrina Thompson didn't mince words, citing the allegations as a betrayal of the uncompromising standards demanded by our residents. This isn't just a blow to Durk's reputation. It's a symbol of how fast the tide can turn when you're caught in the crosshairs of public scrutiny. What was once a story of redemption and upliftment now feels overshadowed by allegations that echo the very struggles he's been vocal about overcoming. Adding fuel to the fire is the political fallout from Durk's $150,000 donation to Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's political committee. When pressed about whether he would return the funds in light of the arrest, Johnson stood firm, refusing to cast judgment before a trial. His response?
If you're asking me if I should make a judgment on a black man before a full trial has actually come to fruition, I hope you do understand why it is not my position to determine the outcome of someone's life.
The statement was met with mixed reactions. On one hand, Johnson's refusal to jump to conclusions reflects a loyalty to due process. On the other, critics argue that accepting money from someone now embroiled in a murder-for-hire plot sends a conflicting message about accountability. Durk's relationship with Chicago's political figures, including his appearances with former Mayor Lori Lightfoot and state's attorney Kim Foxx, also faces newfound scrutiny. What was once seen as a bold step toward bridging the gap between the streets and politics now looks like another crack in a carefully curated image. For fans, one of the biggest blows came with the delay of Durk's highly anticipated album, Deep Thoughts. Scheduled for release on November 22nd, the project was meant to mark a reflective and vulnerable chapter in his career. The timing couldn't be worse. Mere hours before his arrest, Durk announced the album's release date, building excitement after months of teasers and the buzz surrounding fake track lists that had surfaced online. Now, with the project on hold, fans are left wondering if and when they'll hear the music that many hoped would showcase a deeper, introspective side of the rapper. In the rap game, street cred has always been a double-edged sword. Durk's authenticity, his ability to rap about the life he's lived, has been a cornerstone of his success, but it's also what keeps him tethered to the very world he's tried to rise above. The alleged murder-for-hire plot ties him back to the streets in a way that feels at odds with his attempts to change his image. His lyric, "In all my life, I done sat with the mayor and politicians, I'm trying to change the image," now feels like a haunting echo of the uphill battle he faces to balance his street origins with his mainstream success. One of the saddest casualties of this situation is the Neighborhood Heroes Foundation. Durk created the nonprofit to give back to the communities that shaped him, focusing on youth mentorship, financial literacy, and mental health awareness. The foundation was a key part of his rebranding, proof that he was more than just a rapper with a past, but a man with a mission to uplift others. But with Broadview cutting ties and the foundation's name now caught up in the controversy, its future hangs in the balance. For a generation of kids who looked up to Durk as a symbol of hope, the fallout feels like a betrayal. Even if the courts haven't had their say yet, the legal system moves slow, but the weight of the allegations is already bearing down. Durk's arrest in connection with a murder-for-hire plot is more than just a headline. It's a high-stakes situation that could redefine his career. The feds don't play when it comes to cases like this. They've already got testimony and evidence from alleged informants, and they'll use every tool in their arsenal to make the charges stick. For Durk, the fight ahead isn't just about clearing his name, it's about proving that his transformation wasn't a facade. One thing is for sure, the streets are watching. Fans, critics, and peers are all weighing in on what this means for Lil Durk's legacy. Some are standing by him, pointing out that he's innocent until proven guilty. Others are questioning how someone who's worked so hard to change his life could find himself caught up in such serious allegations. For Durk, the challenge isn't just about beating the case. It's about reclaiming his narrative. In a world where perception often outweighs reality, staying silent might not be an option. He'll need to find a way to address the situation without incriminating himself, a tightrope walk that few can navigate successfully. So what does the future hold for Lil Durk? It's a question with no easy answer. If the charges stick, the road ahead could be one of incarceration and introspection. If he beats the case, it'll still take years to rebuild the trust and reputation that's been damaged in a matter of days. But Durk has proven time and again that he's a fighter. Whether it's through his music, his philanthropy, or his sheer will to survive, he's always found a way to bounce back. The key now is to stay focused, surround himself with the right people. For more content like this, click on the videos showing on your screen now.